Hey guys, it's Mrs. Lamphere, and I'm guessing a lot of you didn't watch the Class Connect recording from last week, so we will go over the instructions for this final project here in this video because there's a lot of stuff that I changed from the instructions. So here we go. If you'll let me continue. Here we go. All right, so the whole point of this semester project is for you to demonstrate your understanding of personal finance in these different areas, okay? And they just happen to match all of the different topics of each of our units. Options for this project's presentation: you can either do a brochure. This is not recommended just because there is going to be a lot of information in this project. But if you did a brochure, you better have 3 columns and it better be jam-packed full front and back of your information. Or you could do a slideshow with a PowerPoint or a Prezi, or a written report. So like actual paragraphs organized into an introduction, supporting paragraphs. No matter what you do, you should have an introduction and a conclusion. But then the written report, again, is just like a formal written paper. Okay, let's talk about the different parts of this assignment. The first part should include information about information from the Sound Financial Life unit. So it'll talk about your future career. Preferably it's the one that you've been referring to throughout the course, and you'll want to use that Bureau of Labor Statistics website. You're going to describe the job, the necessary training you'll need, schooling you'll need, expected salary you plan to earn, depending on, again, where you're living. So this probably sounds familiar because we've done all of this before in previous discussions and assignments, so you should already have this information available. Then you're also going to use that information to create a budget. So you're going to kind of approach this entire project as if you're out of school, you have a job, you're out on your own, and you need to start organizing your life financially. So use the blank budget worksheet that's provided for you in the instructions. Alter expenses to match your needs. So maybe there's some categories in there that you need, some that you don't need. Points will be deducted for not including basic expenses. You do not need to complete the W-4 or the W-2 form, but explain what they are. So that's something in the original directions that they wanted you to do, but I've actually cut that part out, so you don't need to worry about filling out those forms, but you should be able to explain what they are. Part 2, understanding credit. I want you to tell me what a good credit score is and what score do you hope to have. How do you plan to achieve that score? Why do you need a good credit score? What items might you finance? This should all be information that you should cover. Again, telling me from how you plan to handle this in your life. Again, a lot of this information will probably come from the project that you completed over credit earlier in this unit or earlier in this course. So you can take information from that. Include any monthly payments you have on any financed items in your budget. You do not need to research finance offers, but you should be explaining what they are. So keep that in mind. That was also in the original instructions. I just hid the original instructions, so hopefully you don't follow those anyways. But just keep that in mind. How do credit cards work? This is something you should be explaining to me. How do you properly manage credit cards? How do you plan to manage your credit cards? What are some interest rates, average rates? What causes them to increase? How do they affect your monthly payments? So everything you know and understand about credit should be going on this slide. Part 3, sorry, not just on that slide. So you'll probably have several slides for each of these different parts if you're going to do a slideshow. Part 3, spending money. So now you're going to pick 10 expenses that you have each month that should be listed in your budget and explain whether they are fixed or flexible. And if you want to get fancy, we did talk about fixed variable expenses, so you can add that word in there if you want to too. Explain to me different items in your budget that could be considered short-term debt and some items that could be considered long-term debt. Explain to me so you'll need to understand the difference between short-term and long-term debt. What's kind of the timeline there? What are some of your financial goals? How do you plan to reach them? What will you need to save each month? So if you're planning to buy a house within 10 years after you get your first job, how much money are you going to start putting aside? Maybe you want to buy a car, buy a boat, or whatever it is. Maybe you want to be debt-free and out of your student loans that you know you're going to need to have. So have those costs reflected in your budget. Next is information out of the banking and insurance unit. Pick 2 types of accounts you plan to put your money into. Explain your choice. You cannot just come out and say, I don't plan to keep my money in any accounts. Okay? If that's what you want to do, then you still have to explain to me 2 different types of accounts. All right, so don't think you're going to get out of any of this by saying, well, I don't plan to have a bank account, or I don't plan to have insurance, or anything like that. You need to demonstrate that you at least understand all of these different topics we've hit on. So 2 different types of bank accounts, 3 different types of insurance that you feel you're going to need, and then explain all of your choices. What types of policies will you need for each of these types of insurance? If you choose health insurance, are you going to use an HMO, a PPO, fee-for-service? These are the main 4 that we talked about in class. Life insurance, what type of life insurance do you think you're going to get? Why? Are you considered low risk or high risk in each of these different types of insurance? Part 5 is over investing money. You're going to choose 2 types of investments that you would put your money towards. Again, you can't just say, I don't want to invest. You need to tell me about 2 different types of investments. Why would you choose these investments? How much money you plan on putting towards these, again, should be reflected in your budget if you're going to do something monthly or yearly. How much do you plan to earn with those investments? Try using that rule of 72 that was discussed in this unit. And how will you prepare for retirement? Are you going to have a 401k or a 403b? Depending on your career choice, you'll probably know that one of these might be possible. Or will you open an additional IRA? If so, what type? Why are you going to choose that type? How much do you plan to put towards retirement each month? What considerations are you thinking about when planning for retirement? How do you plan to use your Social Security? How should you use Social Security? Should you depend on it solely for when you're retiring, or how should that work? And again, a lot of this can come from the retirement project. So as you can see, we've already covered a lot of this information in different assignments. So hopefully you kind of took those assignments seriously over the course, and then that would make this project a lot easier. Important notes: you do not need to include 3 additional vocab words like those original instructions stated. Use the links in the instructions to retrieve the budget. There's a link to the budget worksheet and a checklist for how your project will be graded. Your final submission should have 2 attachments, the budget and the project. And if you have questions, please let me know. The next couple Class Connects will be geared towards helping you guys with this project if you do have any questions. This project is due March 26th, so you have a lot of time to complete this. But you should be keeping in mind this project is a big deal. There is no final exam. You have plenty of time to do this, so you should be putting a lot of effort into this project. Let's look at your instructions here. So I got these instructions. I just posted these in the semester project unit. Explaining the different parts of the project. Here's the link to the budget worksheet that you'll need to prepare. I have the slides that I just went through in the video attached right here. Here's the checklist. Oops, I didn't mean to click on that. The checklist for what I will be looking for when I'm grading your project. I want to see that you at least touched on most of these things and demonstrate your understanding. And then also the writing rubric. So this is what I'm going to use also to grade your overall writing of the project. I'm going to be looking for proper spelling, proper sentence structure, paragraphs, organization, all that good stuff. So this is how your assignment will be graded. And that about does it. If you have any questions, please let me know.